93% of men wear the same boring outfits every day. You don't have to be one of them. These style hacks are so good, they should be illegal. But lucky for you, style police don't exist. So let's break some rules the right way. First hack on the list is throw on a jacket. Sports jacket, blazer jacket, suit jacket, but you can also throw on a denim jacket, fatigue jacket, a leather jacket. Now the structured jackets are going to do more for your shoulders. Basically, they're going to create a very noticeable shoulder point. And that shoulder point is going to make your shoulders look larger, therefore making you look more masculine. And if you've got some extra weight around the midsection, slim you up a bit. A darker jacket especially is going to build out that silhouette a bit, but also you can zip it right here in the center. You can button it right there in the center, and that again is going to slim up that midsection. And if you're wearing dark trousers with the dark jacket, again, it creates that silhouette, allows the eyes to go up and down, a more monochromatic type of look. Now, those are reasons for wearing a jacket you may have heard before, but this next one, probably not. And that is when you wear a well-fitted jacket, especially in the sleeve area, and it fits well at the end, it's not overly long and not overly large here. What this does is it makes the hands look larger. Why is this a good thing? Well, this goes back to primates. Primates oftentimes, before, they're just not going to fight each other. They're going to look at visual cues to determine who should be at the top. And oftentimes, it's not just the size of the primate, but also the size of their hands. This is usually perceived as someone that actually is, more mature, someone that can grip onto, branch or something like that. Point being is we also look at the size of hands, and you want your hands to look proportional. You don't need them to look overly large, but you don't want them to be dwarfed. And when you wear a jacket that fits you well, it just makes your hands look larger and better. Trick number 2, tuck your shirt in properly. What's the proper way, you may say? Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the military tuck. So step 1 is to tuck your shirt into your pants like you normally would. Step number 2 is to take the excess material evenly on both sides and to go ahead and start to tuck it in under itself. Seriously, with step 3, you're just taking your thumb and you're moving that material and folding it over on itself. And there you go. Look at that. Perfection. Another option is the underwear tuck. Now this trick helps if you're wearing an undershirt. You see, your undershirt is tucked into your underwear. Your dress shirt is then tucked between your underwear and your trousers. Oh, and don't forget about the gig line. This is where your shirt placket, belt buckle, and trouser seam are aligned. Now this next hack can save you a lot of money, and that is you're going to learn how to stretch your dress shoes. We're talking shoes made from leather here because leather is pliable. Leather is something that can stretch and adjust, but sometimes it feels like it gets a little bit smaller. Maybe you've got a hot spot. Well, guess what? Put the shoes on and then use a hair dryer, or more preferred, a heat gun. Now with a heat gun, make sure to keep it from a distance because that can get hot really quick and you don't want to damage the shoes, but that right there can very quickly help the leather stretch. That being said, if you want to do it overnight, one tip I've heard, and this is really good if you want to increase the size of the shoes by half a size, is to put a water bag, basically take a couple Ziplocs, put water in them, and then make sure they fill up the toe area of the shoe. Then put them in the freezer overnight and they will expand out and stretch. Now you may have to do this a couple times, but you can increase the width of the shoe and the length just a bit. And what are we talking here? It can mean the difference between shoes that are incredibly uncomfortable and shoes that fit perfectly. The next clothing trick that most guys don't know is to only dry clean your clothing when it's dirty. I know this one seems obvious, but here's the thing. A lot of guys don't wear their suits very often. They wear it once and then they send it off to the cleaners. The problem with that is dry cleaning is very rough on your clothing. Think of it like video games. You've only got so many lives with your clothing before it's gone. So with the suit, sports jacket, blazer, even your nice sweaters, you only need to dry clean them when they're dirty, which for me is about every 15 to 20 wears or once a season. Another quick tip, gentlemen, always dry clean wool clothing before you store it. If you do that and put them immediately into an airtight container, you're not going to have to worry about moth damage. The next trick to level up your style, don't be afraid of bling. Necklaces, rings, but one of my favorite pieces of jewelry that any guy can pull off and most men feel comfortable wearing is a watch. Now, when it comes to watches, I was actually reading a study about which watches get the most compliments. Funny enough, the larger watches that just simply grab attention. It makes sense though, because it has to be noticed. Now, I'm not saying to wear an oversized watch, but what I am saying, wear maybe a little bit larger than what you're used to. Try something different. I know for me, I've got smaller wrists, so I like to gravitate towards one, it's about a 43, 44 is the largest, but hey, maybe if you've got a larger wrist, you try something that's a 50. Yes, guys can pull this off, and a larger watch is going to get compliments. It's going to grab attention. That being said, if you don't want to go oversized, then look to bring in color with your watch. This is another way for it to stand apart, for it to grab attention and get you compliments. Now, if you're looking to level up your style, you really need to check out my free community over on School. I've set this community up so we've got free classes that you can make your way through step by step and learn the basic foundations of men's style. And I have to say, the men that are in this group are friggin' awesome. We've got a no a-hole policy. People treat each other with respect. And what we've managed to create in this community is a place where a man can come in and ask questions and get some solid advice. So gents, use the link in the description of today's video. Go check out our free communities on School. These are for you to become the man you know yourself to be. Now, before I get into this next hack, let me ask, have you ever seen anyone wearing a pair of jeans that are too long for them? They probably wear these now for a couple months, and what happens? All of a sudden, they have loose fabric that is just hanging behind them when they're walking. It looks horrible. So then let me ask, do you have a pair of jeans? Do you have a pair of trousers which are just a bit too long in the legs? If that's the case, you can actually fix these in a matter of seconds using hemming tape. The way iron-on hemming tape works is you fold the trousers in on themselves at the bottom with that hemming tape right there between the material. You then use heat and it fuses it together for a perfect hold. Now, if you want to get the original look with the stitching or you want to reinforce it, yes, you are going to need to use a sewing machine. But in a pinch, if you just want to use the iron-on hemming tape, boom, you can get the job done, and it's going to look better than trousers that are too long. The key with identifying quality, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a jacket, is look at the materials that were actually used and the way that they put them together. You want to make sure and look at those small details, because if they paid attention to the small details, then you can rest assured that the fabric is going to be of good quality, that the thread that they used to actually sew it together isn't going to fall apart on you after 5 to 6 washes. So one of the first things I look at when it comes to a shirt is the buttons. I want to not only look at the type of buttons that were used, and plastic is fine, it's going to be the most common, but mother of pearl would be great. But then I go look at the stitching. The stitching is key, because if they didn't take the time to have a nice tight stitch, if it looks like it's already coming out and the shirt is, you never even washed it or even bought it yet, then be very careful about the stitching. Then look on the inside of the shirt. Are there loose threads all over the place? If there are loose threads, be very careful, because they didn't pay attention to the small details. You want to look at the collar. Do you have removable shirt stays? Not all shirts are going to have this, but it's really a nice detail if they've got removable shirt stays. These small details to me signal this is a good quality shirt. The next trick to upgrade your style, go classic with your shades. When it comes to sunglass styles that are going to suit most men, there are only 3 styles that you need to know. First up, we've got the classic aviator style. Normally seen with a metal frame, it's going to be the teardrop design of the lens that separates this from the other styles. Now, when it comes to lenses, tons of options here. I'm going to say keep it simple. Go with something that's not going to draw too much attention, especially if it's your first pair. Go with maybe a darker color in black. And if that's not exciting enough for you, check out the Hollywood favorite, Wayfarers. Tom Cruise, the Blues Brothers. This has popped up in movie after movie, and it does take a little bit more courage to pull these off. And if you're used to wearing aviators, I would seriously give these a shot. And just like aviators, you're going to see a wide range of different materials. I like keeping it simple, going with black, but tortoise shell is another great option. And if those frames are too strong, you want something that's in between, check out Clubmasters. It's a classic design, a nice hybrid, doesn't have as thick, heavy frames as the Wayfarers, at the same time, a very distinctive look. And really quick, in case you forgot, a refresher of why this elevates your look, creates a bit of mystery. People can't see your eyes. They wonder what's going on behind there. Who's this movie star, that just walked in? Also, it creates symmetry. So it creates balance in the face. And last but not the least, choose the right type of pockets for your pants. So have you ever had a pair of chinos or dress pants that have the flaring pocket issue? You know what I'm talking about. Looks like you got ears down there. These flaring pockets just making your hips look wider. Now, if this is happening to you, it's most likely because the pants don't fit you, you're wearing them maybe too close to the hips, or it could be the style of the pockets. So we commonly see 3 types of pocket styles on trousers. First up, we see the vertical pocket style, often seen on dress pants. Now, this one is the most common offender when it comes to flare. Why? Because if the trousers don't fit you correctly, this right here is going to fold out. It just looks bad. How to fix the flare with this pocket style? 2 options. Take the trousers to a tailor, get them adjusted to fit you better. That may fix the problem. Another option, this one's a bit more extreme, actually sew shut the pockets. You're not going to have the flare issue, but you're also not going to have use of the pockets. Now, the next 2 styles of front pockets are the ones that you want to look for. You want to look for a slanted pocket. You're going to see this on some dress slacks. This is what you want to go for, much less likely to flare out. And this other type, the Western pocket, also known as the horizontal pocket, we see it commonly on jeans and chinos. This one will not flare out at all and is my preferred pocket. So what video to watch next? How about how to fly without getting into a fight? Seriously guys, travel etiquette that every man needs to go. So go check out this video, or maybe share it with that guy that's sitting behind you and is kicking the seat. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Actually, in this video, I talk about a story, a fight that I almost saw happen the other day. So yeah, it's a good one. Go check it out and enjoy.